The Bitcoin price drop has a lot of people asking a lot of questions, mainly what caused it, but it's not as important as what caused it as what effect is it having on the rest of the market. Because there's a couple of people calling for altcoin season. Is altcoin season actually going to happen? Well, in this video, I'm going to talk about what some of the effects are of the Bitcoin price drop, the effects that it had on some of these altcoins, and I'm going to talk about what it did to XRP. Because as it stands right now, when I'm looking at this chart, it looks like XRP weathered the storm just as good, if not better, than most other altcoins. In fact, it weathered the storm much better than Bitcoin. So in this video, I'm going to talk about why alt season was actually trending on Twitter today. Also, in some other crypto news, it looks like Ultra Bitcoin Maxi Michael Saylor just came out and he said something that's honestly not shocking, but nonetheless it's making waves in the mainstream financial world. He said Bitcoin is the least riskiest thing you can have in your retirement portfolio. And now he's got to be careful of something that I'm going to talk about in this video. Also, Elon Musk is getting even closer to making the purchase of Twitter complete. He secured another $11 billion worth of funding to complete this purchase. And I'm going to talk about what just came out today that it looks like Elon Musk wants to do once he actually completes the purchase. And stick around to the end of the video because I want to ask the members of the Late Night Grind community and anybody else watching this video a question, because I'm thinking about starting a new series on this channel and I wanted to get to know your thoughts on it, so stick around to the end of the video to find out what that is. Hey everyone, my name is Randy. Welcome back to the Late Night Grind. Right now on this channel we're covering cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all these topics interest you, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the Late Night Grind community. Also hit that bell notification icon. That way YouTube will send you a notification when I release a new video. And if you do three things, I greatly appreciate it. Smash the thumbs up button, watch this video all the way to the end, and of course check out my Patreon link in the description below. Alright guys, let's jump into it. So yes, Elon Musk is coming ever closer to owning Twitter outright. And it was just released today some information about what he actually wants to do once he owns Twitter, specifically about being CEO. Now, as I was reading today, it looks like, so far it's just a rumor, but it said that Elon Musk wants to temporarily make himself CEO of Twitter before he hands it off to somebody else. Now, there's a lot of speculation as to why that is, because there's been a lot of changes already since he's unofficially bought Twitter. So a lot of people are talking about some of the changes that could happen. But nonetheless, temporarily making himself CEO would give him certain powers to do certain things. So as soon as that piece of information comes out, I'll definitely be covering it. Also, I wanted to talk about what Michael Saylor has been talking about. Like I said in the beginning of the video, he's mentioned how Bitcoin is the least riskiest thing you can put in your retirement portfolio. Now, that's not shocking coming from Michael Saylor. He's one of the biggest Bitcoin holders in the entire world. And if he's not careful, he might be putting Bitcoin in a place where it could be considered a security, because the performance of Bitcoin might rest on the efforts of Michael Saylor. Now, of course, I'm just kidding, but that's what it seems like. And if you remember from my video yesterday, I talked about the Joe Rogan podcast, how it has one of the biggest audiences in the entire world, and how lately he's been bringing on guests. Many of them are very pro-crypto, pro-Bitcoin. And in fact, Joe Rogan himself said he believes it's a viable currency at this point. Well, there is a big push on Twitter to have Michael Saylor be a guest on the Joe Rogan podcast. Now, in my opinion, this would be one of the easiest things for Joe Rogan to do if he just wants to sit back and listen to a masterclass on finance and value. Pretty much all you'd have to do is say, hey, Michael Saylor, thanks for joining us. What have you been up to? And then listen to Michael Saylor talk about Bitcoin for the next 2 hours. So nonetheless, there's a big push to have Michael Saylor on that podcast. I remember at some point we were trying to get John Deaton on the Joe Rogan podcast and bring an insane amount of exposure to the Ripple versus the SEC case and the gross appearance of impropriety. Don't know if that's ever going to happen, but hey, we can always try. Okay, so now I want to talk about altcoin season, because as of today, altcoin season was actually trending on Twitter. And if you're not familiar with what altcoin season is, it's basically a theory where after Bitcoin goes on its bull run and starts to pull back, some of those profits are taken out of Bitcoin and are dumped into the altcoin market. Those altcoins then skyrocket in value, at least a certain percentage of them do. That was essentially altcoin season for the last several bull runs. Well, as we know this year, in 2021 and 2022, this bull run kind of got interrupted a little bit, and nobody really seems to know where it's going. There's a lot of permabulls that think it's going upward, that think it's always going to go upward. And of course, there are those that trade this on a short-term to long-term basis that think it's not always going to be like that. But nonetheless, There's a lot of analysts that I watch on a daily basis, and some of them are calling for alt season right now based on some of the information, based on what some of the charts are talking about with the total market cap of alt season. I know Blockchain Backer is one of them. Michael Vanderpop, he is another noted crypto trader that is very big on altcoin season, and right now he actually made a prediction for altcoin season and for Bitcoin by the end of the year. Now, his prediction is that the altcoin market, which is right now approximately $1 trillion, $1.03 trillion, he says by the end of this year, by the end of 2022, it's likely going to be somewhere in the 1.2 to 1.35 trillion. That's an increase of about 25%. That's a pretty big increase. Now, obviously, there's going to be some altcoins that take up a large share of that 25%, as others aren't going to move at all. And so if that happens, yeah, there could be some huge moves. And we're talking 10x, 20x moves depending on which altcoin you're talking about. Now, if you're talking about the top tier ones, like Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin, those probably aren't going to make their 10 or 20x moves by the end of the year, especially if Bitcoin is not going crazy as well. But nonetheless, there's going to be some mid-tier tokens that go on for a major ride. Now, Michael Vanderpop, he was explaining this, and at the time he said Bitcoin is going to have to hold its support of $38,000. Well, shortly after that, it lost it. In fact, it went to 37, 36, 35 and a half, very close to the number that I had said about a couple of videos ago. And that just goes to show how extremely volatile this market still is. Now, obviously, Bitcoin wasn't the only one. There was a lot of other markets that go along with it. And in fact, one of the XRP developers, creators, David Schwartz, had a comment on that. He said, and he was replying to somebody who said, well, it looks like all of the financial markets tanked, the stock markets tanked, and Bitcoin and the crypto markets tanked. Where did all the money go? And David Schwartz actually replied with a very smart comment and said, that money probably never existed. So, even though it looks like all eyes are on Bitcoin right now, because if you follow this channel, you know that it's my opinion that Bitcoin drives the rest of this market. A lot of these altcoins that couldn't go on some big moves are still going to follow Bitcoin's suit. They may follow more, they may follow less from a percentage standpoint, but the moves overall are going to follow what Bitcoin's doing. XRP has been one that has stood up extremely well recently, probably because it's bumping up against some of the major support, the long-term support trends that it's been since, well, for the past year and a half. So even as Bitcoin took a 10% drop, well, XRP took a drop along with it. It went from 66 cents down to 60 cents. Well, wait, that's a 10% drop. Yes, but historically, when Bitcoin's dropped that much, XRP has fallen much, much further. So in my opinion, that support is holding very strong for XRP. I've seen some people on Twitter call for a 40-cent XRP, even a 20-cent XRP. I don't believe it's going that low. I think it's time to continue to accumulate, because the end of this case for Ripple is going to represent some huge gains for XRP. That is just my opinion. That's not financial advice. Please don't buy or sell anything based on what I say. All right, finally, I want to ask you guys a question because I have some ideas about this channel that I wanted to do. And I've been kicking around an idea about doing another series, and that being on trading. I've been experimenting significantly with something called high leverage trading. I've been doing it for the past several months, and I was curious about making some videos about some of my successes, some of my failures, a lot of the stuff that I've learned along the way. And if you guys would be interested in going along with that, please comment down below and follow me on Twitter. You can have a conversation with me there, because I would love to make some trading videos. It's one of the most exciting and fun things in all of crypto. Now, obviously, there is a lot of risk that goes along with it, but there's a lot of strategy. And good investment advice that goes along with it as well. So if that's something that you would be interested in, let me know. Please let me know, and I'm going to put some work into possibly creating a series on this. All right, guys, that's all I got for this video. I really appreciate you watching all the way to the end, for smashing that thumbs up button. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.